Don't change that channel. You've landed on the right spot. This is Cigar Time. Welcome back.
You had a whole week to come up with something.
I just did it 3 seconds ago.
I like
You
that.
came up with that.
Sounds great.
I just came 3 seconds ago. It came to me like an inspiration from above.
Oh my God! Don't.
I used to respect you.
All right.
Not in the morning though.
Never.
Okay.
Off to another brilliant start.
Yeah.
I
absolutely.
am taking control of this show now.
Good luck.
It's about time. It's been 2 years.
I know. The lovely Miss T will tell us what we're doing today so that the rest of us will know.
Today we are doing a blind taste test, and later Scott is going to let you know how you can participate as well at home.
Nice.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah, open the
Okay,
bag.
I'm ready.
Let's see what Uncle Max has for us today.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be interesting.
I'm amazed you spent all this time not smoking and are still
Oh,
alive.
that looks like a good one.
I'm
does look
losing
like a
ground
good one.
fast.
There you go.
Oh, man.
Look at the way you put the band on.
Uh-oh.
Cute.
Uh-oh.
What are you thinking?
I know what this is. It says D, it's white label and it says D on
Yeah,
it.
Davidoff.
This must be a David Duff.
Oh, I got a Maduro.
That one was good.
Well, this smells good.
Oh, I wanted that one.
Oh, I got a puny cigar.
I heard that
I
about
got a puny cigar. That's what you're calling it now?
Yeah.
Well, I think we should spend the next 15
Pardon my
or,
elbow.
the next
This
15 or
is
20
very
minutes sitting here
crystallized.
admiring the cigar and
I would really
I
like
like-
to smoke one already. Can I?
Trade.
Yeah.
all right, let's smoke
Can
them.
we cut and light it?
That's fun, yeah. To remind you, everybody, we are cutting them and lighting our cigars with the official lighter of Cigar Time, Cigar. Thank you, Cigar, for the beautiful cutters and lighters.
Mine's purple.
What kind of lighter is it again?
Yeah, it's the Illume lighter from Cigar. Very nice.
With a huge tank.
Very nice tank. Small, it's light.
Lots
Hey,
of
that was
colors.
kind of funny, huge tank.
I was kind of skeptical about an orange lighter, but that's
Everybody wants the orange lighter.
Flyers.
Flyers, baby.
Well, what's the white one? Eagles.
Sixers.
Six. Oh, don't even talk about the Sixers.
I won't.
Please don't.
I couldn't.
Rob's an aficionado of
Yeah.
basketball.
I think they're doing it on purpose.
Philadelphia 76ers, they still have a team?
It makes no sense what's going on.
If you held a gun to my head and named one Sixer, I couldn't do it.
I couldn't either.
I could.
If I held the gun to your head, I'd be the happiest man on earth.
Yeah, really.
This is nice.
What are we doing today?
I
Answering the
think
door.
we should probably have Paul expound on some wisdom that he has prepared for us.
Wisdom. I'm heading to Connecticut today.
Goodbye.
Right.
Ooh.
No,
Highlight?
actually, you know, we've talked about Connecticut tobacco a little bit in the past, but we also talked a lot about the history of different countries and the tobacco that they grow there, and I just thought that Connecticut deserved that kind of examination too. So I want to tell you a little bit about the history of tobacco in Connecticut. When the first settlers came to Connecticut in 1630, there was already tobacco being grown there, and the Indians were smoking it on a regular basis, or the Native Americans.
Did you greet
Stop. Stop. It's
It's
the
Indians?
Indians.
Okay.
Come on.
Native
them?
American.
Were you there to
It's
greet them?
No, but I smoked some of their old tobacco.
Were they Dutch?
No, that came later. I'm
That
going to
came
talk
later?
about that in a
Okay.
second.
All right.
By 1700, tobacco was already a major cash crop for Connecticut, and they were exporting it to Europe. In the 1820s and 30s, they began growing tobacco specifically for cigars, and they actually grew 3 different kinds, 2 of which you've probably heard of. One is broadleaf. Connecticut broadleaf is still widely used today. They actually grew a Cuban seed tobacco called Habano, not too surprising. And the 3rd kind was called shoestring. And I have hunted, and I have not been able to find shoestring tobacco anywhere.
I think they make potatoes out of them now. Shoestring potatoes?
Shoestring tobacco? I never even heard of that.
That's it's a
I never
breed
heard of it either.
of wrapper that they used to grow in Connecticut.
No, I think you're making it up.
Well,
I never heard of it. Art's never heard of it.
we do this show on a no, never mind.
We shoestring budget. Right?
on a shoestring, yeah.
You're grossly overrating it.
One shoestring.
Sandals.
Can't
In the
we can't
late-
even afford good vodka. You know, almost tastes like water.
Almost.
Water on the rocks.
Actually, though, in the late 1800s, everything changed because at that point, tobacco was already the #1 revenue generator from an agricultural standpoint in the whole state. And all of a sudden, really in one shot, everybody in the industry stopped using Connecticut wrappers and started using an Indonesian wrapper that the Dutch, of course, the Dutch were always the ones doing this, that the Dutch brought in. And Connecticut as a state undertook a massive effort to try to figure out how they could compete with the Indonesian wrappers. And the state government actually formed a new company whose sole job was to try to figure out how to breed new tobacco that could compete. And what they finally figured out was that what people liked so much about the Indonesian wrapper was that it was very thin. The veins in it were really fine, so it was kind of a very smooth looking uniform wrapper.
Wouldn't it have a tendency to crack though? So thin?
Well, yeah, and they replicated that part of it too.
Thinner than Cameroon?
Just about that
Yeah.
thin.
My guess is, though, that the time frame we're talking about, the appearance of the cigars probably wasn't as
That's
critical
true.
as it
You're
is
right. It's
today.
today.
Well, that's when it became critical. When they brought in the Indonesian wrapper, which was totally uniform and completely smooth and looked veinless, everybody jumped all over that and they loved it. In 1900, they finally figured out the solution to the problem, and their solution was to plant tobacco under a tent. And the
Cigars in front of your face.
but yeah, but I'm doing my 1 ounce curls, which I do 1,000 times a day. They planted tobacco under a tent, and the initial experiment was actually like a quarter of an acre. It was a fairly small tent,
Right.
and they planted Indonesian seeds. Believe it or not.
Was Omar, did he make the tent?
Omar the tent
Tent
maker?
maker?
No, I think we're going to meet with
used to buy my
Omar
clothes from him.
next week.
You used to buy your clothes from Omar the tent maker.
Well, I've thinned out.
I'm just
Yeah,
sitting
you
here
would
trying
have
to
to.
figure out what this is. I think I know. I have a clue.
Anyway, it was an immediate success. By planting it under the tent, what they found is that it dissipated the sunlight enough and kept it uniform enough so that the tobacco grew with a beautiful yellow shade to it, like a honey yellow. The veins were virtually invisible, and Connecticut shade tobacco as we know it was born. Over the next 25 or so years, that became such a big business in Connecticut that over 34,000 acres of land were under tents in Connecticut growing tobacco.
In those tents, I'm sure you weren't there, but we can ask Max. Were they tents like cheesecloth tents like they are now?
Yes.
Or, okay,
Yeah,
that's what they used
and,
back then?
and in fact, that part of how they do things has not changed in 100 years.
Wow.
They have really changed nothing about it. But it's funny, during the, I'll have to get a copy to put on screen later, but in the course of researching this, I got a look at the initial actual written report from the Connecticut Tobacco Development Company, which is the company that was formed by the state. Their written report to the governor about what they were doing and how it worked. And it's like a 60-page document.
Wow.
It was really kind of cool. Tobacco development in Connecticut was basically frozen in place by the institution of child labor laws in America because virtually all of the people that were cultivating and picking that tobacco were school-age kids. And they weren't getting paid much, but it was good for business until the law changed. Today, as a result, even though that wrapper is still by far the most popular wrapper in the United States, the acreage has shrunk from over 34,000 to under 2,000 acres in the
Wow.
whole state.
Yeah.
But just to give you an idea of why, to cultivate and harvest an acre of tobacco in Connecticut cost about $30,000. And when you're all done, you will get about 1,000 pounds of tobacco. And 1,000 pounds of really primo wrapper from Connecticut will net you in the marketplace between $28 and $35 a pound.
I'm making much money on
Yeah.
that.
Which
a lot.
which
Yeah.
means
Yeah.
which means you're either losing $2,000 or $3,000 per acre, or you're making $5.
Right.
You know, $5,000.
Not much, yeah.
So there's virtually no money in it, which is why, and it's all labor cost.
But it is extremely good tobacco.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
tobacco.
it's great tobacco. Yeah.
So that's the story with Connecticut wrapper.
That's interesting.
Well, that was very enlightening.
So now I know why the Connecticut tobacco is so much more expensive,
Right.
and like for Ashton.
you know that growing tobacco is a very labor-intensive process.
Right.
And somehow labor is less expensive in places like Honduras and Nicaragua. and
Just a
Yeah, I
little.
was like a little bit.
Just a little.
And even if they got rid of the child labor laws, even if they still had kids doing it here, it would be way more expensive. And besides, housing developments and strip malls are a much bigger return on the acreage than a
imagine,
tobacco
yeah.
farm.
That's
I have
why.
a question.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Scott.
You mentioned when they started growing it under the cheesecloth that it wasn't as veiny.
Yeah.
What, I understand the cheesecloth filtering the sun and making it a smooth, more supple wrapper, but I wonder, do you know the science behind why it affected the veins?
Yeah, it's all about nutrients. And when a leaf on a plant gets more direct sun, it generates more nutrients and it grows bigger veins to carry those nutrients around.
Ah,
Plants are much more adaptive than we realize. So if you allow a plant to produce a lot of nutrient, it's going to produce a bigger vein to pump that stuff through and move it around within the plant.
Interesting.
that's kind of cool. Yeah, you know what? Now that you mention it, it makes perfect sense.
And you have your doctorate in agriculture?
No.
No, okay.
When was the progression of the lesser acres? In other words,
It
let's
started
say
in the
30
40s.
years ago.
Started in the 40s.
All right. Well, how would you estimate like 30 or 40 years ago? You know, there are 2,000 now, correct?
2,000 acres.
What would they have been 30 or 40? And there's a reason I'm asking this question.
30 or 40 years ago, probably about 15,000.
Okay.
It was already shrinking.
The reason I ask is the General Cigar Company, which owned a lot of that acreage.
And they still
do, right. I understand that. But back then, the early runs of Macanudo had the most beautiful brown wrappers on them that you could even imagine. Now today, you only see those wrappers on their presentation of, I believe, the
Macanudo Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are, if you're ever in a cigar store, and whether you smoke Macanudo or it's Macanudo Gold, which is a totally different taste and strength, take a look at the wrappers on Macanudo Gold, and you'll see
Yeah.
how beautiful wrappers, you know, there could be. Because these are just gorgeous, gorgeous wrappers.
I just want to point out one thing that to me is particularly interesting about all of this, and that it's, although we talk about Cuban seed tobacco all the time, it's the Dutch and the Indonesian seeds that have really pioneered almost everything in the leaf growing side of this business. It was Dutch Indonesian seeds that were planted in Cameroon to come up with Cameroon wrapper. It was Dutch Indonesian seeds in Connecticut to make the Connecticut wrapper that we know today. A combination of Indonesian and Cameroon seeds is what yields one of the hottest wrappers around, which is Ecuadorian Sumatra. It's all Dutch Indonesian seed.
Wow.
Amazing.
Now,
They were real pioneers in that.
another country starting to experiment more with, was it China? I read about this. Somebody's experimenting more with growing their own tobacco and making their own cigars.
I heard that.
China is doing it. India is doing it to a certain extent, but I've had the dubious pleasure of tasting Indian cigar tobacco, and it's truly horrific.
Well, I've had
You should say horrific, not terrific.
Horrific.
I've had-
I was horrified.
several years ago, my father went to China for like a month and brought back like a 10-pack of Corona cigars, and I agree. This was Chinese tobacco, and they were horrible.
Well,
This was
guess
10 years
what?
ago, so
Guess what? There's a renaissance of Chinese tobacco now. I mean, they're planting thousands and thousands of acres and producing many, many cigars over there. You're going to see Chinese cigars in this country before not too
Yeah,
long.
I don't
And
think so.
yeah, I
Yes.
think you will.
And French.
And if you
No
think
French.
about it, given how much of a good cigar is tied up in labor,
They can do
maybe
it.
the only place in the world where you can have labor that's cheaper than Honduras.
And the only reason I would like a
Would be
Chinese
China.
cigar, I have some beautiful porcelain chopsticks that I can use as a cigar holder.
I would like to see you smoke a cigar holding it in chopsticks.
I
I'd
can
be,
pick,
I'd
up,
be
I
really
can pick up a
impressed.
single grain of rice. Why can't I smoke a cigar?
Cigar's a little heavier. It might be hard to balance.
Should we go with the obvious, Joe?
Might be hard to grip.
Like I'd have one and I'd feel like I'd need
I'd
one a
have-
half
I'd
hour
have
later.
half-
Well, I feel that way anyway.
What a setup.
Yeah.
I might as well be smoking a
least
Chinese cigar.
At least I said the obvious, Joe.
It's the obvious. All right, well, I think we should maybe get some first comments. We don't have to say what we think it is at this point, but maybe we should get some comments about what you're smoking.
Good, because I have no idea what this is.
Really?
No clue at all.
No, I mean the brand. I mean, I think I know what the wrapper is and fillers, but
Well, say something about it.
I think it's it looks to me like an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Paul's favorite, I'm sure. A little spice on the retrohale. That's what I'll go with for now.
Paul?
Well, as you can see, I got a Maduro, and it's a very, very dark Maduro, and I thought that it might suffer from tasting like it was treated, because it looks that way, but it doesn't have that kind of taste at all. It's a very, very mild, really mild Maduro.
I'm not getting the aroma you get from the treated wrappers from, I don't smell it from yours.
Nope. It's got just a touch of that Maduro sweetness, but no spice at all.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
For me, it's not especially a good
Yeah,
thing.
you like spicy, I know that. T?
I think I have a Nicaraguan Habano because of the way the wrapper is, and it's spicy. As soon as I lit it up, it was very spicy, but then it mellowed out. I have an idea of what I think this would be, so it's pretty tasty. It's not really what I like. It's more what you like, Paul. I think we got the wrong cigar.
What do you,
Switch.
Well, why don't you swap?
Well, on that one, what do you think the binder is?
Very funny. Very.
Rob?
This is a mildly spicy cigar. It's a medium-bodied cigar. It's box pressed. It looks like it has a Nicaraguan wrapper. It's very spicy. Not very spicy. Mildly spicy, but it's got a lot of oak and wood taste to it on the retrohale. I like it. It's gonna be. It's starting to get a little complicated. Complex, I should say, not complicated.
Say
It's
complicated.
not complicated. It's complex. That's what
fight
I
with
would
it?
say.
How
Yeah,
long
I'm
you been
gonna
doing
fight with it. I'm gonna fight with it.
I really like the
Didn't you
band.
say earlier this isn't your
the
first
band is
radio?
nice. It
I'm
is.
surprised you didn't remark about the band.
Oh, the band is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I have
I'm
A.
sorry.
I have A because I'm the best.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
true.
smoking E.
Yeah.
So
You're elegant.
I'm elegant.
Or effervescent. Yeah, more effervescent.
What's A for?
I have D, which would
Awesome.
easily be mistaken for a dog, but it's not. It's anything but a dog. It's very. I have no clue what this is. I know what the wrapper is too, but and it's burning like a Cuban. Nice dirty ash.
Nice dirty
Well,
ash and
obviously-
a nice oily wrapper.
This didn't come from the Dominican Republic.
No.
I know that. It's a very tasty cigar. A little bit of spice, a little bit of sweet finish. Nice on the retrohale. It's a decent cigar. Shall we go into our next topic?
Yes, we should.
Okay.
Sure.
And today we're going to tell you individually who we'd like to have a cigar with, who we'd like to sit down and enjoy a cigar.
Other than Misty.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
right.
Yeah.
Other than you guys?
Yeah.
Other than us guys.
Yes.
So who would like to take the
I'll
lead
go
on this?
first.
All right, ladies first.
Again, you can't take mine.
I'm not taking yours. I'm sure no one's going to pick
None of
this.
you are going to get mine.
I would like to sit down with Charlie Sheen. I've been in love with him since the early
You
90s.
stole mine.
Really?
I can't believe
Of all the people in the world, he's
Charlie
really,
Sheen?
Wow.
Wow. No, because he's
Well, I'll talk
he's
about
so-
why later, but
he's
you
so
go ahead.
cool. You know, he
Bad
always
boy.
he pairs it right. You know, and like I said, I've been in love with him since the early '90s, and you know, this would be a good sit-down conversation. You know, piece. I want to meet Charlie Sheen instead and smoke a cigar with him.
Wow.
Scott?
I love him. He's sexy.
I'm going to jump back and forth.
Okay.
Change it up a little bit.
I will pick William Lieb, who was
Who?
my William Lieb.
William Lieb. Don't you know who William Lieb is? I know who William Lieb is.
I have
course
no
I do.
idea who
I
William
absolutely
I do.
Yes, he does.
I absolutely
Who is
know
it,
who
Art?
it is. It's your grandfather.
It's my grandfather.
See?
That's right.
Aww.
Yeah. Now, my grandfather passed away about 20 years ago, and unfortunately, he was a big cigar smoker. I mean, he was always smoking. He would sit.
I used to sell him Garcia Vega. I remember.
Probably did. He would sit in the basement, you know, during the holidays, and he'd play his electric organ, and the whole
Nice.
room would smell like cigars.
Nice.
Nice.
And I know for a while he smoked, as I remember, like a Phillies and stuff. But as he aged, he started smoking the Don Tomas. And,
Okay.
I never got a chance. I didn't get into cigars till after he was gone, and so I would have loved to have had a chance to share that with him, because it was a huge part of his life. And I actually still have, I think, 3 or 4 of his last cigars sitting in my humidor,
nice.
which I probably can never smoke.
No, don't ever smoke it.
Yeah.
Did you get into it because of your grandfather?
No, it wasn't because of him, but I remember, you know, I think he knew I started to get into it, and I know he was ecstatic about this, but we never had a chance to sit down and have one.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a shame. I'll stall for you
Bring
to
the
rethink.
mood all the way down. Scott.
Rob?
Rob's all glassy-eyed. Look at him.
Yeah, right. You know, like, wipe my tear out of my eye. What the hell? Bring the show down. God. Mine would be John F. Kennedy.
Oh, that's a good
Big
one.
cigar smoker.
Small cigars.
Small cigars,
smoker.
Corona-sized cigars. I think he would be fascinating to sit and talk with. Cigars, women, politics,
Ballistics.
Maryland.
Ballistic.
sports. I mean, ballistics.
Oh,
Yeah. But yeah, I think he would be extremely interesting to sit and talk
Can't
to.
believe I said that.
So, that's my guy.
Okay.
Your
Well,
turn.
you know what? I'm going to stick to my guns, but for different reasons. Since I was never in love with him.
till now.
I forgot that. Did he pay your rent?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Then I can understand.
But there was an episode of 2.5 Men where Charlie Sheen was hanging out at his house with Sean Penn and Elvis Costello.
What a combination.
And the 3 of them were drinking scotch and smoking cigars. And I just looked at that assemblage of oddball characters, and I thought, man, if I was sitting there smoking and drinking with them, I would not stop laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like it would be way too much fun to pass up on.
You get that here.
That's
true.
why I come in every day.
Yeah.
Is it my
That's a good
turn
reason.
now?
It is
Yes.
your turn.
Well, I've got another bad boy.
Edie, I mean,
Mine would be Jack Nicholson.
Ah, nice.
Perfect one. Yeah. Oh, you two
That would be
together.
good.
I've never
That
met
would
him,
be
never
good.
spoke to him, and he's a cool cigar smoker. He's had a very interesting life. You're all familiar with his total life. Certainly, he's had a film career that spanned many generations now. And talk about bad boys, you know,
One of the originals.
he's one of the original
Yeah.
of the modern bad boys. But I think it would be I've always thought he was a cool guy. You know, I love his movies. I love his acting. Some of his personal stuff, maybe not, but, you know, that's another story.
yeah, he likes basketball.
Yeah.
He does like
LA
basketball.
Lakers.
Without a
He's
doubt.
always
court
at
side at the
every
Lakers.
Laker
But
game.
That's a
I
shame.
think he's a real cool guy. So
Yeah.
let's move on.
Now that you mentioned that, I can think of a bunch of other people. I would.
Well, JFK
Save it for
would've-
another show.
JFK would have been
That was a
nice.
good one.
That was
I
a
thought
good
that was a
one.
good
That was a
one.
really
was
good
very
one.
Churchill.
Well, no, I'm surprised nobody said Winston Churchill. It just shows you. Amazing. All right, what are we doing next? Should we talk about our cigar?
Yeah, I guess we
Yeah.
talk about them more and rate them.
Okay.
I'm not going first.
I'll go.
Let's
I'll
get
go
to it.
first.
I'm
Wait,
first
are we
before.
going to say what we think it is, or just talk about it and
You
rate
can
it?
say what you think it is.
Say what you
We're all going to be right.
All right.
So what's the difference?
I think mine. Hey, I
What
was
a vote of
kind of right.
confidence.
I was kind of right before.
Well, you were in the right church, weren't you?
I think
After you
I
opened
did
the
not
envelope.
cheated.
After
I
you
did.
you open the envelope.
I did.
Open the envelope and then guessed.
I did not
There
look
was,
at the
there was no
envelope.
shortage of people ready to dime you right out.
That's right.
I did not look. I swear.
Remember,
You
I was
got
the,
it right.
I
You
was
got
the
it
only
wrong.
one that didn't say anything.
It's on camera. We will go back and
We will go
watch
back and
it.
you will see that you opened the
I
You're on
envelope.
the
opened it, but I
table.
didn't look.
Okay.
Okay.
Whatever.
You guys were like peeking.
Huh? Yes, I'm going to work on that. All right,
Yeah, I was right.
next,
I'm going with either an Upman or, yeah, I'm staying with the Upman.
Rob.
I believe it's an Upman.
I think this is a Flor Las de Antillas.
Hey, hey.
You got box press. That
Box
really
press.
nails
Wrong.
it down.
No,
It's too
not
hard
that.
of a box
Too
press.
thin, too.
No,
And
no,
no, the
I don't
color's
think
not,
so.
the wrapper's
I don't
not
think
good.
so.
That is
The
not.
Antilles is
wrong.
not that square.
I'm telling you.
Scott?
I'm going with a Rocky Vintage on yours.
I think I have
it's
no
not
idea what this
dark
is.
enough.
I can tell you, I think it's an Ecuadorian Habana wrapper and a Honduran filler, and it's an okay cigar. I have no idea what it is.
Mine's really good.
Paul?
Mine's really spicy.
I'm not going to even hazard a guess about what it is. I'm just going to tell you that it is a classically mild Maduro.
I can.
It's smooth. It's got some flavor. I mean, I could guess, but I would just be
What do you
guessing.
think?
Yours is completely
His looks like an Ashton Maduro.
I was
Could be.
thinking like a
think
number
it-
40.
It could
Right.
be.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I don't
so.
know.
Yours
doesn't
is a
look big
Padron-
enough.
Yours looks like to me one of those Padron carbon copies.
No.
No.
The other one
Yes, it
I
does.
thought it would be the new one, the New World.
No.
Is it my turn?
No.
It's not dark enough or fat enough.
I don't know what, I don't have a clue what this is, but it's very tasty. Has a nice sweet finish, although it's getting a little sweeter as I taste it. A little hint of spice on the back of the tongue, and whatever it is, it's very yummy.
So
Scott?
why? Yeah, I was gonna say why are we even
Talking
why are
about
we
it.
doing this?
Well, I think it's time for you.
Our
I'll pass the
special-
baton. Tell the people what they can get.
We thought this would be a cool idea for. We don't know what these cigars are. We are not going to tell you what they are.
Because we don't know.
Hopefully we're
Uncle
gonna,
Only
Max
Uncle
knows.
Max
Hopefully we're gonna-
Only Max knows.
You could probably bribe him.
exactly.
can bribe
But
Max.
we're all these 5 cigars are going to be available in all of our stores right after the show, and that's how you're going to find out what the cigars are. The retail value of this is $43. And it comes with a Stay Fresh pack, which you can use over and over.
It'll last up to a year.
Is that right?
It'll
A year?
keep
Okay.
these
Year.
fresh for a
Guaranteed.
year.
Yeah.
Guaranteed
Yeah.
Word
for
on
a
the
year.
street.
So the retail suggested price is $43. These 5 cigars in the bag are yours for $29.95.
Wow.
Cool.
And you can
And
reuse the bag.
They're going to
after.
know what they're
And
getting.
And then you'll find out what the cigars are.
You'll find out what
Exactly.
they are, and they're all major cigars. There's no Don Nobodies in there. At least I hope.
Wait, so
not.
thau find out
Yeah, I was
when
gonna
they're-
say we don't. How do you
We
know?
don't know,
They'll
but
find out when they
knowing
buy it.
Max, they're good cigars.
That's part of me. I'm thinking, all right, fine.
Okay,
$8
well,
ad.
we've arrived at that time of the show, which goes by way too fast when
Wow.
we have to bid adieu, to use an old friend.
I'll go. Bye-bye for now.
Ciao for now, everybody.
We almost forgot. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Yeah.
happy
Oh, yeah,
Thanksgiving.
happy
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Happy
Life's
Thanksgiving.
too short to smoke cheap cigars. Hi, Mom. Hope I didn't make you cry.
Aw.
That's our dad.
Smoke often and smoke happy, everybody.
You don't care that you made me cry. That's
I
okay.
Well, on behalf of the entire Cigar Time crew, our studio audience, our technicians, our camera people, sound people.
Photographer.
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 Okay. Thanks,
And,
Becky.
Forget the
Our
FedEx guy.
producer that's falling asleep.
And everybody at the Cigar family, we wish you a very, very happy and fruitful Thanksgiving. And please join us next week when